Hey everybody, Krystal Gamer here with a new build video, and God, I have to calm down. I just got done watching the craziest thing before recording this video. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of a guy called Wu Young Ning. Wu Young Ning is his name. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us, but this kid was a daredevil stunt guy, one of those guys that did that rooftop climbing. He did it out in China, and he died almost 2 years ago. And anyway, I just came across, I was doing one of those YouTube things, you know how you end up kind of going down the YouTube Wonderland hole and you just kind of follow videos. And anyway, I was doing that and I ended up coming across a compilation of his stunt videos. And I don't know how this boy did this stuff, because just watching that stuff, you know, he's got the camera up gazillions of feet high. He's on these huge skyscrapers and the view you can see down forever. And wow, I'm not like, I don't know, massively afraid of heights. At least I wasn't, but maybe after watching that video, I might be. Man, whew. Yeah, poor kid ended up passing away too, and doing what he was doing. He passed away doing a stunt, unfortunately. And yeah, that's too bad, but boy, he was really good at what he did while he was around. Unfortunately, I guess not good enough for that last final one, which is too bad. But you know, when you have daredevils, they're taking massive, massive risks all the time. But yeah, anyway, I'm gabbing about that mainly because my heart's still going from it. Whoo! I woke myself up and I got adrenaline going all over the place and everything for just watching the videos. I think that's actually why a lot of them do it though. A lot of the guys that do stunt stuff, did daredevil stuff, I think that's why they do it, because massive adrenaline rush. I got an adrenaline rush just from watching, so much so that I can't talk. You get this, right? So yeah, I got that just from watching it. But anyway, all right, I guess I should talk about this video for a second. So this build is predominantly just a shell. It's like lightly furnished on the inside, kind of furnished the way a house would be furnished in the United States. In other words, it has kitchen cabinets, appliances, bathrooms, and I happen to have thrown in a dining room table and a couple of things out back. But for the most part, it's just a shell, and I do the build here on speed build, and then the exterior, I do that undo redo method that a lot of folks seem to like. It's probably the closest I'm ever going to do to a stop motion. I watched a video on someone's stop motion the other day, on Malin's stop motion. She did a video on it. She's really great. But yeah, I watched her do a video on stop motion, and I looked at it, I said, how does she do this? Because I'm watching it and I'm thinking, you have to kind of know what you're building. And I change my mind a lot, and I tear things down and I redo things, and there's a lot of redoing, and her stop motion is all perfect. And I'm trying to figure out how she does it all perfect. I looked at it, I said, there's no way I could ever do that. I don't know how she's doing it. It's great. It's great that she can do it, but I don't know, with the way I build, I don't think I could ever do that. But I do the undo redo method, which we're going to be getting into here. And that's probably the closest that I get to a stop motion. So after the build is done, basically I undo a bunch of stuff and then redo it for the camera, and that works pretty well. And it's good for, like, when we get into this section, it's good for the people that don't like the speed build parts of it, that are a little bit dizzy making sometimes, which I can totally understand that. It gets that way for me too. I try to cut out the spinny stuff, you know, so that it's not too dizzy making, but sometimes that can be a little bit difficult. But yeah, this one here, I don't know. I was just in the mood to build a house that kind of looked like this. I had a certain thing in my head with this porch that went out front with the kind of the jet outs that are in the front of this. And so I had kind of a vision for the front of this house. And so that was basically the main reason I built this. I really feel like I tried to lift the terrain for a while, and I ended up taking it all down to use these kind of planter things in the front. And I do this all the time. I start houses with forgetting to lift terrain, and then I try to lift terrain after the fact, and it almost never works. And I just never, I don't know. I see other people do really cool things with terrain, and I tend not to think about it until after the fact. I have a certain idea in my house. I have a certain idea in my head for a house, and I just don't tend to think about the terrain until after the fact. And I really have to, I don't know, I've got to get myself to think about terrain beforehand, but yeah, so it ended up being on flat ground, unfortunately, because of what I wanted to do with the landscaping. You know what the problem is? I would actually use the terrain tools a lot more, but my biggest issue is everything floats above the terrain. Everything floats above the terrain. Now, there is a way that you can get stuff to sort of sink into the ground by using basements and all of that stuff. And I've tried that and it works sometimes, but it's not a perfect method because a lot of times it will light the stuff differently. Like the stuff that's above the surface will look like it's dark instead of light. And so that's no good. You can't have that. So sometimes it doesn't read it right lighting wise. So that's not a really good solution. I just wish that the team, that the EA guys, the developers would give us the ability to sink trees and vegetations and all of that stuff into the ground so that I know I, for one, would use the terrain tools a lot more if we had that capability, but I find it very hard to build on terrain because we can't sink trees and rocks and vegetation and stuff into them. So maybe someday, my fingers are crossed for that, maybe someday. But in any case, before we get to the end of this, because God knows I just gab on and on, but before we get to the end of this, I should tell you it is a CC free build. It's a shell 20 by 30. I'm putting it on the gallery for anyone that wants to furnish it up and all of that stuff. I think it's kind of a cute little house. I don't know if I'm going to end up furnishing it or not, but I have a lot of irons in the fire right now. I've been working on the big story thing that I've been doing, and so I've got a lot of stuff going on, and I just picked up some freelancing work that I'm going to be doing, and so yeah, I just kind of figured I'd record this without doing the furnish and put it out as a shell. I posted a poll a while back on Twitter and asked people if they like shells, if they search the gallery for shells to furnish, and a lot of people came back and said yes. So hey, I figured I'd do a shell, you know? But in any case, we're approaching the end, so if you like this video, if you like the build, please don't forget to hit the like button below. And of course, if you're not yet subscribed, definitely subscribe. I put out at least 2 videos a week: builds, tutorials, challenges, pack reviews, fashion shows, cast videos, and more. So all things Sims. If you like The Sims, please don't forget to subscribe. Hit the little bell so YouTube notifies you when I put out new videos. And thank y'all for spending the time with me today. Hope to see you back again next time. Bye now.